Hey there, brilliant people. So today I've got a special guest, Travis Jones, and I suppose I should do a disclaimer. He's actually my accountant. He works with Interactive Business Advisors. And one of the reasons why I wanted to speak to him, of course, is because intuition is not something that people would ordinarily think of when they think of accountancy. But anyway, so Travis, welcome.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
So, would you like to say anything else about what you do, apart from that it's helping people with their business and
No.
accounting
It's
things?
not, to be honest, I don't think it's really about that. It's about
Okay,
intuition.
it is about intuition. So, what from your point of view, what is it that you think intuition is?
I think intuition is. Some people might use it as a gut feeling or some almost divine guidance. I'm not sure it's really divine, but yeah, guidance that your body actually gives you in situations.
Okay, and being an accountant, people are used to. They kind of expect like creative people, or people who are sort of on the fringe maybe. they expect people to talk about intuition and work with intuition. People don't necessarily really expect accountants to work with intuition.
I definitely agree with that. I think accountants do use a lot of intuition, but those people who would, if you like, be in touch with the intuition side of the world or the industry, if you will, wouldn't really associate my intuition as an accountant with theirs, I would suspect.
Okay, so perhaps you could tell us a little bit about how your intuition works for you.
I think when intuition with an accountant is more based on logic and experience more than anything. So for example, a lot of the stuff that we do in the everyday as accountants is almost trying to work out what items a client, this is the biggest single one, and it sounds very, very droll, I guess, what clients spend money on that clients don't necessarily sometimes even know themselves or remember themselves what they spent that money on. So you've got to do a little bit of investigating, and over time with experience, you get a lot more of a feel and an understanding, whether it be a new client or in the industry, in the accounting industry as a whole. You get to understand people more and more, and you kind of got to understand the person before you might even get to the right answer.
So some people might say that that's really just pattern recognition, or your subconscious, because you've got so much experience in the industry. It's just your subconscious picking up things. So, but intuition, or at least for me, it's a little bit more than that. So, I mean, because from what you were just saying, it almost sounds that it's really just your informed subconscious. Is that for you? Is that what it is, or is it a bit more than that?
No, I would suggest it's very, very, very much a big part of that.
Mm-hmm.
There might be a little bit more, a little bit of psychology, understanding the client as well, and as you said, pattern understanding.
Yeah.
I think that's a massive one for accountants, and that's kind of where I was coming from.
Yeah.
In relation to intuition too.
So, have you got an accounting intuition story you're okay with sharing with us? Or?
Oh, well, there's a lot of times that you can, especially when you meet a client for the first time, you start to understand them, and in some cases you go, well, they're a fairly straightforward person, so you can kind of understand their expenditure or income driven focused, and from that you then understand what kind of habits that person has. And then there's the flip side. You can also get a new client where you kind of go, I wouldn't trust them as far as I can throw them because of things they say or things they do in relation to their day-to-day business activities, and you kind of go, this is not someone I really want to associate with. And even they could be telling you the most, the sky is blue, and you go, I just don't believe him.
Right.
Yeah. So
well, and see, to me, there is this link actually between intuition and integrity.
Yes.
Because for me, and because the thing that they both share is that pattern thinking that you're talking about. And it's like, if somebody is whatever their pattern is, you know, like whatever their essence is, however you want to think about it, but if they live consistently to that, well, then you've got a foundation that you can work with. You know, you've got a pattern you can grow.
Indeed.
But of course, if the person keeps breaking that pattern, they're just going to be creating chaos. And that can, you know, be very stressful. And of course, in accounting, well, I guess, you know, it can lead to all sorts of trouble.
Oh yes, definitely, definitely that.
Yeah. Okay. So that's to me my part of the important part of intuition is understanding that actually we've got two kinds of thinking in our brain, and from what you're talking about, that's exactly it. Because of course, accounting, you've got to do the left side of your brain. Things have literally got to add up.
Definitely.
And that number is either right or wrong, which is the left brain. But yes, the right brain is having that pattern-based recognition.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and to me, it's, of course, when you've got, you know, when you're working with a whole brain rather than half a brain, you know, it's going to work better. Yeah. All right. So, if anyone you know, is looking at perhaps wanting to develop that pattern recognition, you know, that the ability to work with patterns more consciously, you know, that's part of the intuition. Any tips or tricks that you'd like that you work for you? That
Well,
you
practice, obviously. But the one thing that, and this is something that I've only, you know, I've been in accounting for almost 25 years now, and one thing that I've only brought in very recently, which has helped sharpen me a lot, and it's Sudoku. I do it all the time now. My wife used to do it all the time. I used to look across the room, and they are very much a pattern-based puzzle.
Pattern-based number puzzle.
Yeah. Surprise, surprise, accountants like Sudoku.
Yeah. Yeah. So essentially, you've found a way that you can train your mind to, you know, because I mean, it is, to me, it is like any skill, and you can practice it in those ways. So you're finding, I suppose the interesting thing would be, because you work with numbers, so training your mind to look for patterns within numbers helps you hone your intuition. I'm not quite sure, of course, like if somebody else was doing something that was quite left-brained, that perhaps wasn't to do with numbers, I suppose they'd have to look for something that they could practice, maybe recognising patterns. Because I don't know that Sudoku would work for everybody.
No, I think that is very specific to
well,
number crunches, so to speak.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, well, for me anyway, that's also part of intuition, that it does work differently for different people. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, and thank you for your time today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay. So I hope you found that helpful, everybody, or you at least learned that yes, even accountants can have intuition. So until next time, always be brilliant.